Andy Joseph is a small-town businessman, a Navy veteran, a father of 5. You would never suspect he's also a pot entrepreneur.
Daddy's got it figured out.
The garage right next to his house is where he runs his business, a business that's about to be booming, all because of marijuana, a drug that's illegal in his home state.
I never would have guessed in a million years that the food that I put on my table is ultimately funded by medical marijuana.
Joseph invented this machine.
The liquid CO2 acts like a solvent, dissolves the oil out of the plant material.
It's used to extract botanical oil from plant material in the food industry, like vanilla, mint, or this cayenne pepper. So you literally dump this into your machine and you end up with that?
Yep.
In the last year and a half, he's seen an uptick in sales and a new kind of customer from the West Coast.
It was so underground and covert at the time, most people wouldn't tell us that they were doing cannabis. It wasn't until after several conversations that you come to find out that, hey, I actually running cannabis through that thing.
Joseph's wife, Kristen, was skeptical.
So I kind of laughed at the thought that, oh, this is a real business now.
Entrepreneurs seeking to break into a new market for medical marijuana products began buying his machines at $18,000 to $100,000 a pop, all to extract cannabis oil for pot-infused foods.
What was it like when you found out that people were using your equipment for cannabis extraction?
Initially, it was very nerve-wracking. When you tell your family or your parents or your friends, they immediately think you're a drug dealer. You know, and I'm the farthest thing from a drug dealer.
But Joseph is part of the marijuana gold rush.
Right now, the medical marijuana and potentially the adult use marijuana industries are an entrepreneur's dream.
At Dixie Elixirs, one of Joseph's machines is hard at work. Today, the cannabis oil is going into a chewy chocolate candy that will look a lot like a Tootsie Roll, except that it's psychoactive and sells for about $8 a piece. For now, these pot-infused foods can only be sold at medical marijuana dispensaries for medicinal purposes. But when recreational sales begin in a few months, business is expected to skyrocket.
No matter who you talk to, it's a billion-dollar industry over the next 2 years here in the state of Colorado alone.
Trip Kieber is the owner of Dixie Elixirs.
Today in 2013, we have approximately 105,000 patients registered through the state of Colorado. In 2014, we'll see in a minimum of 500,000 consumers, in addition to what could be as high as 3 million visitors to the state interested in having a relationship with the plant.
In the past 3 years, Kieber says his company has grown from 2 employees and 1 product to 40 employees, selling 85 different pot-infused foods.
This is certainly the most fascinating and exciting opportunity that I've personally been involved with. At the end of the day, it makes me a little bit giddy.
I started probably getting involved with pot when I was like 12 or 13, and we'd steal it from older siblings and just get goofy. And then probably about 14 years old, I started getting high every day.
For Jake Becker, a 24-year-old machinist in Denver, legal marijuana is like a dream come true.
You pick up a bag like you pick up a pack of cigarettes, or you pick up your coffee in the morning. So it's removing that addict culture. It's also removing the drug dealers. Taxes are being paid on it. It's going back to help the schools. Everything about it's a good thing.
Right now we grow in about 5,000 square feet of space. We're getting ready to triple that.
Andy Betts runs Denver Relief Dispensary. He's hoping to attract users like Jake when recreational sales become legal in January.
We'll be putting in 2 greenhouses behind our current cultivation facility, and those will each house 5,000 square feet of additional grow space.
Betts says the growth is exciting, but it comes with real risks.
The biggest one, obviously, is that it's still considered a Schedule I drug by the feds. Worst case scenario, we open our doors to people over 21 and the federal DEA comes in and raids our establishment, takes all our computers, takes all of our product, and arrests us.
That's what happened to some dispensaries in California, a cautionary tale for the pot business. After medicinal dispensaries exploded in 2009 and 2010, federal authorities cracked down, shuttering hundreds of dispensaries and raiding marijuana-affiliated businesses.
This is a Hawaiian Afghani. My organization, Harborside Health Center, has been the target of multiple federal agencies who have been using everything that they can, short of actually arresting me and putting me on trial in front of a jury.
Steve D'Angelo co-founded Harborside Health Center in Oakland, California, the largest medical dispensary in the country with nearly 130,000 registered patients.
Yeah, it smells good, right?
The dispensary appears to be thriving, but its legal situation is fragile. The Justice Department is seeking civil forfeiture of the building where Harborside operates, charging that the dispensary is in violation of federal drug laws.
I think the reason that they're trying to do that is they want to frighten every other property owner in the state, every other property owner in the country, and keep them from leasing their premises to medical cannabis providers.
Last summer, Visa and MasterCard terminated contracts with marijuana dispensaries, forcing many of them to become all-cash businesses.
Last year we paid about $1.5 million to the city in taxes, and we make those payments on a weekly basis. We have to actually transport huge piles of cash, currency, down to the treasurer of Oakland every week to make our tax payments. It's dangerous.
David Wedding Dress, or Dress as he prefers to be called, runs the dispensary's day-to-day operations. He says that just getting a bank account is a challenge. Financial institutions can face federal money laundering charges if they do business with dispensaries.
At one point, I generated a list of all the banks and credit unions across the state, and I definitely called 100 of them in a 2-week span. We're distinctly seen as the leader in this industry. They figure if they can scare us out of business, it makes it easier to scare all the smaller people out.
It's not clear whether aspiring marijuana moguls in other states will share Harborside's fate. The Obama administration changed its tune recently, announcing that it wouldn't go after the pot business in states that have legalized it, as long as there are robust regulations and enforcement. Colorado has a statewide regulatory system that's often cited as a model for other states, so Colorado's pot entrepreneurs may be in business.